Okay, welcome everybody. Again, we're going to get into yesterday's market action. How can you not, based upon the type of sell-off that we had? And I'm being straight up honest with everybody. Did it bother me in the slightest? No, it didn't. We told you exactly what was going to happen. If the numbers came out a little bit better than they expected, inflation was waning to a greater degree, you were going to have the markets race through the roof. If it was the opposite, well, you saw what happened. Now, again, you got to understand how markets work nowadays with all of the hedge funds and all of the algorithmic trading, all of the various different options contracts that play a part in this. And once momentum starts going in one direction, it's very, 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 very difficult to turn the tide. What usually turns a tide in situations like that is if some of the people that are out there, shorting positions have to cover. Things like that will end up stopping it at midday. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. So again, why would you base your portfolio and your finances, for all intents and purposes, on a coin flip? Because that's what it was. A lot of people thought, the conventional wisdom that the inflation was getting better. And you had Washington, D.C. and the Biden administration saying what an awesome job they're doing when it comes to inflation. And what did we tell you? What did we tell you? Sorry about that. We told you to watch, look around, trust your own eyes. Go. You know what you're paying at the grocery store. You know what it costs when you go out to a restaurant. You know what a cup of coffee costs. Granted, I get it. Gasoline prices have come down a little bit, but they're still ridiculous. You see your electric bill. You see your heating bill, your oil bill, propane, gas, whatever it may be, and you're seeing these prices continue to creep up. And that's the reality, people. You have to stop listening to what the powers that be are telling you. When it comes to food and energy, and I've explained this before, the Fed can't fix it. Okay? They can't. By raising rates, they're not going to do anything about the price of food, the cost of food. It's not possible. We keep talking about, we had people coming out today and the Fed needs to raise rates by 200 basis points, by 100 basis points, by, 125 basis points. I got to get ahead of this. They're getting ahead of shit. They can't control any of that. We keep talking about soft landings and hard landings and all of this nonsense. People, if you do recall, okay, interest rates were not always this low for an extended period of time. How many people out there at some point in time had a mortgage payment, interest payment that was above 5%, 6, 7, 8? My first mortgage payment was right around, the interest was right around 8% at that point in time. Was the country going to hell in a handbasket? No. We've had a lot of cheap money for an extended period of time. A lot of that cheap money went to a lot of companies that, quite frankly, didn't deserve it. We're seeing those companies go by the wayside. We're seeing valuations come down. The Fed running off its balance sheet is going to do more to take some of the money out of the system than raising rates will. So again, if you're hoping that the Fed is going to fix this, they're not going to be able to do it. Because again, if the powers that be, the people in Washington, D.C., the people you vote for, continue to ask for more money, the Fed's going to give it to them. Fed's going to buy up the securities. Someone's going to have to suck up all of that debt that we keep issuing if no one else is going to buy it. Again, our rates have come up to some degree, so you're getting a lot of foreign money looking to come in here and purchase some of that. But people, think about it. Get your arms around the entire situation. Actually, had Kyle Bass on CNBC echoing what we've been saying here on the program. This whole Paul Volcker notion, it can't do it. Okay? It's not possible. They keep talking about it. Jay Powell can't pull a Paul Volcker. If Jay Powell pulls a Paul Volcker, our country is going under. It's going under. They wouldn't be able to afford Obamacare. They wouldn't be able to afford Social Security. The defense budget would be blown. Paul Volcker, when he raised rates like he did, our debt to GDP ratio was around 30%. It's over 100 now. The amount of money that we are spending on interest every single year is extraordinary. They are limited on what they can do. For whatever reason it may be, I don't know why people can't get their arms around this concept. Fed can't do much. Anyway, another number. Housing prices continue to increase, but I think that's going to start to change. Well, it is going to change. Not, do I think it's going to? It is going to, and I think that the numbers, quite frankly, lag to some degree. But the usual stuff: food, like I said, electricity, gas, not gasoline per se, but natural gas, propane, all of these things that people need to live on have gotten extraordinarily expensive, and it's shameful. It really is. All right, you know what? Let's talk about it. What does this mean for your portfolio? What does this mean for investors? Some of you probably, went online and looked at your accounts yesterday and like, oh, look at that, bad day. Listen, again, if you're building your portfolio with high quality foundational companies that pay you to own them, understanding that compounding is the royal road to riches, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I mean, you'll get through this if you've done the right thing. That's not a matter of if. It's going to take some time, and most certainly what I expect more volatility moving forward. Last week on the radio show, assume automatically, put it in your mind. Put it in your mind that we're going to I said put it in your mind that we're going to go past the June lows. I said, put it in your mind. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't know. Again, I keep my don't have a crystal ball that can tell the future. I can look to the past. I can't tell the future, but I'm prepared for that. And this is why I like to call it financial preparation, not so much financial planning. And again, if your situation is a situation where you can't deal with that, well, then you need to make some adjustments in your portfolio. Anyway, did you see yesterday the White House threw, I shit you not, an inflation reduction party. Yeah, the Inflation Reduction Act, they actually threw a party talking about inflation going down. You want to talk about a cliche? They had James Taylor playing there, for crying out loud. Yeah, they rolled out James Taylor to play at the Inflation Reduction. It's funny. Again, I cannot stand her music. I can't stand the sound of her voice. But there's that rap star sings a lot of those vile songs. Named Cardi B. She put out I don't know what social media platform it was, but I happened to get wind of it, where she was going off about inflation and making the point that she couldn't understand how so many people could actually survive based upon these higher costs. Now, here's someone that's loaded, that gets it. She understands. Cardi, I know you're a big superstar. You might want to relay this to your buddies, okay? and in particular the people in the Biden administration, because they don't get it. They keep singing the Lego song. Everything is awesome. No, it's not. It's not. It hasn't been awesome for a long time, but we've been telling you this. Anyway, got to deal with the terrain, people. Oh, by the way, yeah. Inflation in food is the highest it's been since 1979. And do me a favor, stop blaming it on Vladimir Putin. Just shut up. Okay? Shut up. Do me a favor. Own it. Stop blaming, for crying out loud. What was that line from Rising Sun? Sean Connery is telling Wesley Snipes there is, don't worry about fixing blame, fix the problem. Yeah, this is the White House trying to point finger at who's to blame for all of this. Fix the problem. You take a look at the country we have, the type of soil we have, the land mass that we have, and our food prices are this high? Again, it's ridiculous. How is it that I can be an island in the Mediterranean? That's very difficult to grow things, dry island, and food costs not even close to what we're paying here. Explain it to me. Yeah, again, we're our own worst enemy. And no, it's not Vladimir Putin's fault. Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel was, there's some national conservatism conference. It's in Miami. I get asked to go to these things, and quite frankly, I'm tempted from time to time, and I'm just like, honestly, I'm at the point in time I said I'd rather go to my daughter's field hockey game. I don't want to miss my son's football game. You should probably go to these things, and I used to, not anymore. But anyway, Peter Thiel there, and he makes the point talking about how wokeness is like Wahhabism. And he also goes on and he echoes what we've been saying here on the program about the Republicans and the Republican Party, and how all they're doing is pointing the finger and saying Democrats bad, donkeys bad, Biden bad, look at this problem, look at that problem, and they're not doing a damn thing about it. And it's true. I mean, we got solutions to problems. We promoting solutions to problems. Again, I got to hand it to Rick Scott. At least he's trying. I see a story like this, New York Post today. New York City homeless man sleeps on sidewalk with toaster oven. Crisis worse since Great Depression. I want you to understand some of the numbers here and how pathetic this is. They actually break down how much is actually being spent. New York City spends, and they're saying right now is about 70,000 homeless. No, 80,000, excuse me, 80,000 homeless. We spend, in New York City spends, I don't live in New York City anymore, $43,750 per homeless person in New York. That's double what they spend on public schools per student. Think about that for a second. 80,000 homeless people in New York City. We spend $43,750, yet they're everywhere in the streets. And in a column, they talk about that, people saying that the homeless shelters are actually worse than prison. At what point in time are we going to deal with the problem? What point in time are we going to start dealing with mental illness? What could you do? I mean, just put yourself in this position. You've got billions of dollars at your disposal, $43,000 per person. You don't think that you might be able to figure something out? I mean, it's awful. It's awful. You get the people in the street, and you see them. They're kind of bobbing back and forth, and they can barely stand. What do you do for somebody like that? What do you do? You look to, the scriptures and helping people that are poor and helping people that are destitute. Again, you do the whole, what would Jesus do in this situation? I get, Jesus at least had he's got the power to heal, I guess, addiction. What are you going to do? You're going to give this person money that they're going to spend and they're going to buy more. What do you do? Again, we have to deal with the issue at hand. Think about the waste, $43,000 plus per homeless person. New York City, 80,000 homeless in the city. Anyway, Republicans looking to protect Americans earning less than $400,000 from IRS audits. They introduced legislation that would prevent the IRS from using the $80 billion in new spending authority to audit taxpayers who earn less than $400,000 annually. Does anybody think that this is going to pass? Anybody at all? No, me neither. Not going to happen. Again, this, the Democrats have promised, we promise we're not going to do, IRS is not going to do that. This actually, puts it on paper, puts it in law that they're not going to be able to do that. I'm just telling you, that's not going to happen. It's not going to pass. 63% of small businesses have put hiring on hold. Nearly 2 out of 3 putting their hiring on hold because they can't afford to add staff, and 10% of that group is laying off workers. That's the reality, and either that you're going to have to start. You're going to have to also start looking to automate more things. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that. There's not a day that doesn't go by where I don't see another restaurant, small business within my community, not even my community, immediate community. I live on Long Island. There's the newspaper, the big paper for Long Island's New York Newsday. And that day I go by, I look at the newspaper, local paper, where there's not another restaurant that's been there for years. Where the owner says, I can't do it anymore. I can't work 7 days a week anymore. We can't get staff. And again, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You shut at some point in time, again, this is what a lot of people really don't understand when it comes to, risk and reward and how much time you've got to put in. Again, I for a long time, a myriad of different businesses that I've chosen not to invest in that would have done well, but I would have ended up killing myself. And I said to myself, I said, what happens if, somebody doesn't show up to work? The staffing is so short. It's so difficult to find workers. I can't do it. And that's the world that we live in right now. And again, you're going to see more and more of these instances where small businesses are going to go under. It's become very, very difficult. Another story on quiet quitters. This one says half of U.S. workers are quiet quitters. And again, quiet quitters is just the politically correct word for slacker. That's it. They just changed it. Slacker. We've always had slackers. They've always been around. Okay, what we need to have happen, you want to really help when it comes to inflation? You want to get the economy moving and grooving again? Start firing slackers. That's right. You're not giving it the full effort. You're out. I'm it's a big thing with me. The quick sidebar story. Again, I'm bringing sports into it. I coached AA high level club lacrosse team. My son played on it. Every kid on the team went on and played Division I lacrosse. Everybody was good. Everybody was a good player. Everybody was a good player. But our philosophy for this team was that, we try to win every game. Absolutely. But every kid was good and we did equal playing time. We did equal playing time. Other teams, had kids that were great players, but weren't just might be a little bit lesser than somebody else. They wouldn't see the field. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The whole purpose behind this is to get the kids recruited. That's all it is. So again, I didn't understand that philosophy. The only time I would yank somebody off the field, you make a mistake. You can make a mistake, drop a ball, bad slot, whatever it may be. It happens. It happens. I yank you off the field. Your time to be out there if you're not giving it 100%. If you're not giving it your all and then some, I'm yanking you off the field. So to all you employers out there, you got employees that are not giving it their all. They're half-assing it. I'm telling you right now, I know in the back of your mind, I might could be able to replace them. What difference does it make? You're wasting your money anyway. You're wasting your money anyway. Goodbye. Get rid of them. Lengthy story. I'm gonna do this. Definitely cover this again on the weekend. About how welfare has left Americans poorer. The Census Bureau released its 2021 income report, and the spin is that the unprecedented pandemic transfer payments lifted millions out of poverty. Most Americans are worse off than before the pandemic, and this has a lot to do with all of the transfer payments. Lifting government lockdowns last year should have caused millions of Americans to return to work and raised average incomes. That didn't happen. Real median pre-tax household income fell last year and was over $2,000 lower than it was in 2009. Total number of workers didn't budge between 2020 and 2021. How is that progress? It's not. And I know a lot of programs have been cut and done away with. But again, all of these people that haven't come back into the workforce, what are they doing? Where are they getting their money? I know we got so many government programs out there. I don't get it. Anyway, another story again. We've discussed this before on the show. Prescription drugs. Expensive prescription drugs are a bargain. The Inflation Reduction Act gives the government the ability to negotiate prices. People will die. Again, sounds, ooh, boy. Wow, he sounds like he's going off the deep end on that. Is he? Is this Charles Hooper or David Henderson? Are they? No. Businesses are not going to go out and they're not going to develop drugs, treatments if they're going to lose money on them. You do understand that a corporation, the CEO of a corporation, has a fiduciary duty to their shareholders, to make money. Now, if our government says, well, we're going to come in and we're going to only pay X amount, we're going to negotiate these prices down, and these companies find out that they're not able to make money and recoup the costs of developing these drugs, they're not going to develop them. They're going to do the same thing that many of the energy companies did and said, okay, screw it. We'll just, we'll issue bigger dividends and we'll turn capital to our shareholders. It doesn't make any sense. Again, you're head of an energy company and you see the writing on the wall and you're told that, your product is awful and evil and the government wants to shut you down and all of these other things and making it more difficult. You say, you know what? Okay, this is the terrain. I have to deal with this. So I'm not going to go out there and develop and drill and do all of these things and increase production because it's not going to pay off. The investment that I need to make is I'm going to lose money on it down the road. Do you think it's any different with this? A big problem, and I've talked about this before. I mean, all sorts of trade stuff, and again, Trump and his tariffs. Would have been the first thing I would have tackled with trade. First thing I would have tackled with trade with all these nations is said, you know what? It's not fair. You're forcing the United States to pay for the research and development of all these drugs. You guys come in and you go to the drug and you give it a take it or leave it because of, your government socialist healthcare, and the drug companies are like, all right, well, I guess it's something is better than nothing. And what do? They go to the place where they can recoup their investment. Again, it's just how the world works, people. Yeah, more self-checkout is coming, no matter how much you hate it. Yeah. In Chattanooga, Tennessee, a flustered self-checkout experience and subsequent failure to double bag led Tim Conant to lose half his Thanksgiving groceries in the parking lot asphalt. There's a lot of people out there say the customers could just replace the workers. That's not necessarily true. I'm Exhibit A. I don't know what to tell you, people. It's happening. You do understand margins. Again, grocery stores have very, very difficult. It's a pennies business. Nickels, dimes, pennies. That's what grocery stores make. Their margins are very, very small. And you start raising minimum wage and you got a tight labor market and people aren't willing to come in and do the work. Guess what? You're going to have to find a way. Again, Ian Malcolm, Jurassic Park. Nature finds a way. The free market will find a way. And this is what the free market is doing. What is it? The New York Times. New York Times did an article, and they caught 97 current lawmakers in the stock trades that they had done from 2019 to 2021, and the conflicts of interest that are involved. And they go through this, and you're talking about trades being made right before committee votes that will affect these companies where they're buying and selling these securities. And this is happening again and again and again. Yes, this is called insider trading. Us peasants, plebes, go to jail for things like this. We go to jail for things like this. If I was privy to information out of a committee in Washington, D.C., and what they were going to do or decide on something, and it wasn't public information, and I traded upon that information, I am breaking the law and could go to jail. And it would go to jail. That's the reality. I mean, you don't go to jail in New York for stealing cars or robbing places, but if you do that, you're going to jail. Yet, if you are a member of Congress, if you are one of the elites running the show, you can get away with it. It's okay. One more quick story before we go today. This guy teaches a class on how to lose money. He really does. This Masayoshi's son from SoftBank, and he wants to start another one. Again, I don't know what type of Jedi powers that this guy has where he is able to get SoftBank to give him so much money and give him this platform when all he could teach a class on how to lose money. It's fascinating. Anyway, Watchdog on wallstreet.com, watchdog on wallstreet.com. We'll see you.